Is hidden mold eating away at your profits?
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Today's episode is sponsored by Mold Solutions. More on them later. I'm Milton Ali.
And I'm Hampton Skurlock.
And we want to welcome you to the Investor Tribe podcast.
Late night grind, got the cash in the flow. Flipping these dreams, what's the portfolio grow? Brick by brick, stacking wealth in the zone. Investor Tribe, obs where the hustle is home.
Tom Jenkins reveals jaw-dropping stories and what every investor needs to know to work through their portfolio when those issues come up. So we want to welcome Tom Jenkins to, did I say Tom Jones?
You said Tom Jenkins.
You said Tom Jenkins.
Okay. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. All right. Yes. And so I'd like to welcome Tom Jenkins to the podcast. Tom, welcome.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Tell us a little bit about Mold Solutions. Why the name? What do you do? Share some exciting or interesting stories. We want to hear all about you and your company.
Sure. Well, I mean, I've been doing it for over 20 years now. I've got a little bit about me. I've got 3 certifications. I've got by the IICRC. That's the body that's everybody who wants everybody to be certified by the IICRC. And I've got.
What does that stand for?
Good question. And you asked me, I'm not going to remember it. So
fair enough.
I'll have to Google it. ICRC.
ICRC. Google that. You're certified.
You can talk to them and tell them, Google it, and then the other certifications too. So
yeah. And it is the body that people want everybody to be certified. ICRC. And but I've got 3 certifications. 2 of them are by that organization. MRT, mold remediation technician, and WRT, water restoration technician. And then I've got a 3rd certification, which is ozone gas technician. And that's what I use to kill the mold with, is the ozone gas.
There's the air ionizers.
Yeah, it takes the ambient air, and you've got O2, which is what we're breathing now, going in, oxygen, and then you've got O3 coming out. It uses a coronal discharge, charges it, and it attracts a 3rd oxygen molecule. So now you've got O2 going in, O3 going out, which is a little bit heavier than oxygen.
Okay. And so what's the most common mold or odor problem that most homes have?
Well, I would say the mold there's over 300 different types, and it could either be caused by water intrusion or it could be caused by a vacant house for a long time. If you don't have the HVAC system, not only heats and cools the house, it pulls water vapor out of the air. So I see it within like Hampton. I see, a lot of investors like him, they'll turn the HVAC off when they're done working on the house. And that's not a good idea because you're done at night and then it gets musty and moldy overnight. I've seen houses that have been vacant for 7 years. Mm-hmm. So,
that smelled nice, huh? 7 years?
Just 7 years.
Stagnant air?
Yeah, just sedentary air, just getting hot and cold and musty. And so I always say, leave your HVAC on like you were living there, even if you have a summer home and you're not going to be there the whole time. So that could be a cause of it, or it could be water coming in from the outside.
So just from the onset, I know that mold professionals like yourself are a handful, or there's more probably, that can actually deem something as mold, right? Professionals and real estate agents like myself may not be able to just define mold because it could be just dust on the wall.
Well, that's a good question. So I always say the IICRC wants you to stay in your lane. So they've got, if you're either a tester or you're a remediator. So I chose remediation. They don't want me to test. And vice versa. If you test, they don't want you to remediate. And I get it. I guess there could be a potential conflict of interest there.
Right.
So I'm just like you. I can't say mold. I can say microbial growth until you test it, and then you can say.
And then you can go in and remediate it after it's been diagnosed, so to speak.
My thing, I save people a lot of money right now that if you see that microbial growth, which is easy to spot, I'm sure you have seen your share of it. But if you see it, tests will run anywhere from $300 to $1,000. I say the test is, if you see that microbial growth, the test has already run its own The house has already run its own test. And so why spend the $300 to $1,000 if it's going to come back? In my experience of 20 years, if you test that type of microbial growth, it's going to come back from the lab as some type of mold, and it's going to come back as elevated. So my opinion on that is, why do the test if the house has already run its own test? You can tell a lot visually, I guess is what I'm saying. And I don't charge anything to do those inspections.
So spend the money on the treatment. Don't, if it's there and you see it, why bother testing? Just do the treatment to get rid of it. Whatever kind of mold microbial growth it is.
Yeah, and if you do want to know what type it is, that's important sometimes. I use the test when I want to test for myself, and I want to know the Home Depot test for $10. The kind that say ProLab on it. ProLab, to my knowledge, is the biggest lab in North America. One of the biggest labs. $10 for the kit, $40 to send to the lab if you want to know what type and what the colony count is. So for $50, you can do it a lot less expensively than have somebody come in and do it for you.
Okay. And you said, for your clients or our listeners, you'll do a free evaluation,
Yes.
free. Okay.
So people tell me I should charge, but I think I get a lot more business just by going and doing it and not charging them and giving my opinion. And if there's business that results out of it, that's great.
Okay. And we're in Louisville, Kentucky, not Louisville, Colorado, or
No.
Louisville.
Right,
But we're in Louisville,
yeah.
Kentucky.
Yeah.
And how far of a radius do you go around Louisville to provide your services?
About 3 hours.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
that's most of the state and surrounding states.
And it's, Southern Indiana, Cincinnati, Indianapolis. Yeah, those types of places.
Okay, Ohio as well.
Ohio as well.
Okay, excellent.
Yes,
Excellent.
for sure.
And so, can you share a time where a homeowner or even a real estate agent like myself were surprised by how simple,
Yeah.
and direct your approach is to remediation?
Oh, all the time. I mean, I say that, kind of the joke is you call in a typical restoration or remediation company, tell them you have mold, and they'll tell you to tear down the house and build a new one. And
That's happened to me before. That's literally happened. I mean, these guys literally came in with hazmat suits in my house just for dramatic effect. And it was just, I had a small wall. I had a small part of my wall. They literally came in with hazmat suits, taped off everything, made my house look like it felt like it was like a crime scene or something.
Put in a containment wall. And
Yeah.
And my thing is, I always tell people, mold is systemic. Once it's one place, it's every place. Don't be scared. There's just no such thing as a negative mold test. But I always say, if they do tell you they want to put a containment wall up and it feels cool, like you're in a bubble, it uses negative pressure to keep down particulates, and that's about all it does because it's already in the HVAC system. So my question would be, you want to put up a containment wall, what are you containing? That's like shutting the barn door after the horse is already out. So it can double the cost of a project. And so that's complicated.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. You can do it a lot more simply. They're surprised that I come in, and if there's no water intrusion and formed on the surface, it's non-invasive. We don't have to do any cutting. And we can sterilize using the gas. I use the HVAC system to pump the gas. So not only does it move the gas out, it sterilizes the ductwork in the coils. And so it hasn't cost them anything other than the treatment. They don't have to do any cutting or anything like that. Unless it's coming from the outside, and then you might have to do a limited amount. But I always say, some of the companies, they do take out more than they need to. Sometimes I would say I've seen that. My advice is, if you do need to cut, and sometimes there is a time to cut, just cut until you get clean margins, maybe cut a little bit more, and then you can stop enough for the gas to get back there.
Okay. That's it. It certainly makes sense. And, sounds like there's a lot that goes into it. There's also a lot that goes into running a business, and it's hard. So, you should have to be an editor, actor, a moderator, a brand strategist too. Our friends at Bespoke Marketing can do those things for you. They'll make you look good while you're doing what you do best. You can visit them at bespokemarketing.org. Bespoke Marketing, connections, tailor made.
Have you ever walked into a property and you immediately knew that there was a deeper problem going on? Like you were just like, you know what? You don't see it, but I do.
Oh, sure. I mean, that happens. Again, I'm not an alarmist, and if there's not a deeper problem, I look at the house from the outside in. So I go and do, because if we kill the mold, my first thing is what's causing it. Could be a roof leak, could be flashing, could be just the house has been vacant for a while, could be their basement's too humid, run a dehumidifier. Could be a number of different things, but I look at the whole thing. It doesn't take me that long to do it. I look at it from the 3 Gs, which is really helps you keep your expenses down and get to the root cause: gutters, grading, groundwater. Look at those 3 things. Just walk around the house with them. Do they have it down? Do they have elbows on the downspouts? Do they have extensions on the elbows? Are the gutters clean? How's the grading look? Because they all feed on each other. So that the gutters are dirty, it goes over, it hits negative grading. There's 3 types of grading: neutral, positive, and negative. If it's neutral, that water hits it and it'll go down the foundation of either the crawl space or the basement and seep in. So I say, clean them out. And then you typically want your grading to go 30% away from the house. You can't stop water, but you can reroute it. So just put a good 30% grade away from the house. That's relatively inexpensive to do. So the gutters, grading, and groundwater. And then you go into the house and run a dehumidifier in there. And if they don't have water intrusion, you can just kill it with kill it with the ozone. And then just put a dehumidifier, because I always tell people, if I kill this and it comes right back, what good am I doing? And I tell it will come right back. I'm just honest with them, here's the whole secret to everything. It's all based on food and water. And once you hit food is the bacteria, which is all over the place, and then water. Once you hit 60% relative humidity, you're going to have mold. So I'll give you an example. I put a dehumidifier in my basement. It runs at 30%. If I unplug it within 15 minutes, it's at 60%. It cost me $279 to get that. And I run it down the sump so I never have to empty it. And it keeps my house at 30%. If I don't run it, I've got mold within a couple of weeks. So, and it's $279. And some of these companies will talk to you about HEPA filters, scrubbers, UV lights, all those things. None of them kill mold. And all of them pale in comparison to a $279 dehumidifier that you can get at Home Depot or Lowe's or one of the other stores.
Maybe you can order it and have it delivered if you don't want to go out or find
Amazon will get it to you.
Amazon will get it to you. You talk to them about a sponsorship. Well, we do buy a lot of stuff from there. So.
We really do. We really do. And so it's almost so, what other preventative measures would you recommend for our investor tribe here to help them understand this? You can prevent a call to Tom, just to be able to say, hey, if you did these 3 things with the gutters, grading, and all that, you would be, you was like, look, you can prevent a call, you can perhaps save some money.
Yeah. The G things. We need to make a video about
the G things.
the G things, but fix those things. Don't call me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We'll figure out. You're the rapper.
Yeah,
you
dig it. Yeah,
dig it. The words going.
It's all good.
Grading, gutters, and groundwater.
That's right.
Most common culprits.
Yeah, and all that goes to the number 1 cause of damage on a home is water. And water is exacerbated by gutters, grading, and groundwater that aren't right.
Okay.
So those 3 things will keep me away, and a dehumidifier in the basement.
Okay. Sure. We just solved world hunger.
We solved a lot. Yeah.
We solved a lot today. Right. And so, I mean, that's super cool. So what's a situation where your approach helped calm a panic, homeowner and how did you help guide them through the process?
I'm Tom Jenkins with Mold Solutions. I've seen mold scare off buyers and shut down deals. It doesn't have to. Tune in this Wednesday at 1 o'clock for the Investor Tribe podcast. Well, that happens all the time. I think one example, a few years ago, and one of the realtors, I got done explaining to her, and she had a degree in biology, and she said, you know what? You're disarming to a situation. You educate people, and it takes the air out of the situation. And you'd be surprised, but buyers have sellers call me. Sellers have buyers call me all the time. I get in the middle of it, and it really does. Instead of making it worse like you'd think, once everybody's on the same page, they say, oh, it's not going to be that bad. Everybody's got it. We can get rid of it. What caused it in the first place? There's no big mystery to it. You don't have to use a lot of fear to scare people into things. So, once you educate them, it takes the fear out of things. So that makes it simpler.
And so, not to necessarily go down the rabbit hole here, do you recommend ozone machines? And like those home, the ones that you can buy off the shelf. Do you recommend those?
Well, here's my thing on that. So in order to kill mold, you've got to have 5 parts per million. When you have 5 parts per million of ozone in a room, then that's going to kill not only mold, it'll kill all bacteria. Even hospitals use that to kill. Not only do they kill mold with it, they kill MRSA with it, which is the superbug. But that's not your typical machine. The typical machine that you would buy would be meant to be run 24/7. I'm not sure about those, if they're safe or not. To be honest with you, I don't know, because I'm a little bit uncomfortable with them, because I did a job for a dentist and he showed me, he had one of those ozone machines running in his, this is anecdotal. So don't,
Okay.
this, all it is a story but he showed me his latex gloves and they were shredded. And I think that when people read it as something about ozone harming something, they're not talking generally about a high ozone shock treatment, which is what I do. I'm in and out in 8 hours. They're talking about generally those things that run 24/7. And I don't know how that affects your lungs or anything else, to be honest with you. But in my process, we don't want people in the house.
Or animals, right?
People, pets, or plants. Yeah.
Plants.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
For 8 hours. Now, having said that, just one caveat. A lot of the people treat with antimicrobials. I'm leery about the chemicals that I put in and around my body. Ozone gas in and of itself is good. We wouldn't have life on this planet without the ozone layer. It filters out UV rays that would burn us up, but it also happens to be the most powerful sterilant on the planet. Just to give you perspective on it, a distant second would be chlorine. Chlorine doesn't kill mold. Ozone does. Hospitals use it. So as long as you treat it right, you're okay with it. And the good thing is it's not a harsh toxic chemical. It doesn't leave anything behind like a harsh toxic chemical. It just kills it while it's there. And when you unplug it, it goes from 5 parts per million. I watched it on a meter down to less than a part per million in about 15 minutes.
I bought a house a few years ago, and and there was an ozone machine inside. I'm in this house for about maybe 4 or 5 minutes, and I walk out. It literally took about 15 minutes to collect myself. From being
shortness of breath, or just
it was shortness of breath. I was like, okay, I'm not going to drive. I'm like, I am not going to drive, because I was trying to drive, and then I was like, let me just park here and figure it out. It probably was more than 5 minutes, but boy, is that some powerful stuff.
Well, I tell people not to go in the house for at least an hour. When I go in a house, I open the doors and I put exhaust fans front and back. And so, but generally, like I said, I've watched it on a meter. Within 5 minutes, it's back down to about less than 1 part per million, which should be
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And so it's really encouraging to know that you do this type of work, because so many times the conversations, the questions that surround what you do can either make or break a transaction, but also can resolve a really deep problem, so that we can actually proceed and move forward with a purchase. Because I like buying houses that have a whole bunch of mold going on, because nobody else wants them, right? So
mold can be gold.
Mold can be gold, right? Yes. So I love being able to buy those types of opportunities, but it's always good to be able to call Tom to help remediate that, because I know guys that will not enter a place or go to work in an environment where that's present. So I think that's cool. Hampton?
Yeah, I think it's real cool. What else is cool is you can find us on your socials. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and X. We're on @InvestorTribe. So keep tuning in to the podcast. We launch a new one every Wednesday at 1:00.
Yeah. Can you tell us a time where the root cause of the mold was completely unexpected?
Really just food and water. So I can't really say that it was anything's a surprise to me as far as the food and water, because it's always
nothing's a surprise.
Always goes back to food and water.
Yeah.
You know how they say that, follow the money and nothing will surprise you.
Right.
Follow the water and nothing will
okay.
Yeah.
That does make
But it
sense.
does make it simpler to figure it out.
Okay. Follow the food, or follow
food and water.
Follow the food and the water. Okay.
Yeah.
So that does make sense. And so are they ever hard to find? Because I know that when I purchase houses and I invest and I do my thing, basically water never begins where it ends, or it never ends where it began. So you can't necessarily find the source. Are you finding yourself like navigating the forensic work of where the water came from?
I find my inspections as I am in the business longer and longer, getting longer and longer, because I'm more detailed in my search on, because I need to know where it came from, what causing it, how to get rid of it. And so it's always a puzzle to me when I go to a job, so I look at everything, and sometimes you just have to sit there for a minute and let it come to you. And I think it's very much like one of those shows, one of the forensic shows. It's always about, where is this coming? How can we get rid of it? And everything's different. Each case is different. So you look at each house differently, but usually, I don't think I've run into any that I haven't been able to solve. And they're not that complicated once you figure them out. Just nobody, unless you're in my business, you just don't take time to look at it. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because so many times there can be a leak that came from the outer wall that travels down a floor, that travels down the joist and ends up in a finished basement drywall area about 5 feet away.
So whenever I look at a case like that in a bed, it's a good example. I looked at one the other, it was a while back now, but they had an unfinished basement. The microbial growth was on the joist. We treated that. And then they called me, I don't know, maybe a month later. And so we've got it on, it came back. I said, it came back already? And they said, yeah. Well, it wasn't there that they were talking about because we cleaned it. So the sequence is kill it, then you clean it. Peroxide's a good thing to do it with, not bleach necessarily. But that's the sequence, kill it. But no, it was on the finished part. It was on the drywall, and it was all along the wall. I said, like you just said, let's go look at it was an exterior wall. Let's go look at the outside of it. So what they had on the outside of it, you know how some windows are below grade, right? And they'll put wells in. Well, they didn't put a cover on this well. So when it rains, it can fill up like a swimming pool, go down into behind the drywall. And that's what happened in this particular case. So whenever you look at an interior wall, go look at it on the outside. You'll find it.
Okay.
Yeah. But you're Columbo, you're pieced together the clues and get into the heart of the problem. And we've seen that before. Where is this water coming from? We had a tenant that, so I got this leak. The roof is leaking. Set a roofer over there. They couldn't find anything. He was dumping 5-gallon buckets of water on corners and flashings and chimney. We couldn't recreate the leak. It would rain, send the roofer there. No leaks, no problems. And then the tenant calls it, well, it's leaking again. We're like, well, tell us, what'd you do today? What happened? He's like, well, I took a shower and it was a valve behind the wall that was leaking. It looked like the roof because the valve was on an exterior wall near the roof. And so it took us a while to track that down because we assumed it was one thing, we were told it was one, and then it was something else that was, could have been a roof leak, but it wasn't. So stop that water source. You can stop the mold. But sometimes you got to look and sift and maybe even knock out, some drywall or take a look to see things. And
the longer you've been doing it, the easier it gets to spot because you start to see similar patterns.
And if you recall a time when maybe your someone been quoted big dollars or you went to a project and your solution saved them a ton of money compared to what they were told, what they thought it was going to cost.
Yeah, just recently I did a job for the guy he said, when you left here, I researched the crap out of this stuff. He said, it works. He said, it kills everything. It kills, don't panic, but he said it kills, when he meant everything, he meant mold, biological growth, germs, E. coli, all that stuff. He said it kills all the living. That's why you don't want any pests, people, or plants in the house. But I said, yeah, you did a lot of research on this, huh? And I said, weren't you in the medical field? And he said, yeah, I'm a biomedical engineer. So it's good to get that validation from customers that technical people, back it up. And they liked it. And that's my favorite kind of customer, somebody who asks me those questions. And we can have a discussion about it. That's what I like doing. But he also told me he had a friend who had an $80,000 quote for getting rid of the mold. And he said the restoration company wanted to come in. they wanted to take each piece of furniture out, treat it with ozone, and then bring it back. And we couldn't figure out for the life of us why they wanted to take it off site to treat it. Why not just treat it there on site? And he said, well, I don't know if I do it that way. So I've seen estimates from 2,500 on the low end, and then I just saw one recently for over 100,000. And why? Because I mean, my opinion, there's a lot of solutions that are superfluous, ancillary. They don't address the situation in the first place. They don't even address the water issue sometimes. And so what you want to look at it is the root cause to get that to stop. And then what really kills it is the ozone gas.
So that would lead me to ask you, where do your services begin and where do your services end?
So, well, the services begin when I walk out there and take a look at their property and try to find out what's going on with the situation. Now, I also work with contractors because sometimes there's water intrusion and they have to get the work done. And so I find contractors that have done work for me, my clients, people that I can recommend, because not only do people get taken advantage of in my industry, they get taken advantage of in the contracting industry. As you guys know, you can say, go find a contractor. Well, how long does it take you to find a good contractor that you can count on? So I have people that I work with, contractors, and I say, look, I've got no skin in the game. If you want to use them, the only reason I'm recommending them is because I know them. They've done work for me, my family, my clients. And so that's part of the service. If they need to get drywall ripped out, if they need to get a new roof put on because of it. So my part, I guess you could say, really doesn't end just at the remediation, but I would like to be a good referral source for them. And I work with the contractors. I know them. They know what I need to have done. That type of thing.
What's the strangest or most challenging location you have to deal with when it comes to mold in the region? Or is it just hyper localized to the specific situation?
Well, I mean, this could have happened anywhere, but I mean, you know, I did a house not too long ago. You guys will appreciate this. It was a rehab. They pulled out 15 40-yard dumpsters. They had, and they couldn't sell the house because they had 23 cats and 5 dogs in there. So it was beautiful. Pool.
I can't stand the cats. People know I cannot. Oh my gosh, that's a trigger for me. My apologies.
Well, that's how I got into the business in the first place. We had a cat odor problem, but so it took 96 hours to do it, but we got rid of the smell. So it got rid of that odor situation. Smoke odors is another one. Cigarette smoke. You think it'd just be like it ranges. A lot of them are in Honey Creek, Persimmon Ridge, that type of thing. People that have smoked there for 20 years. And then one of those ladies who had treated her mom's smoke odor, she called me and said she had it herself. Her house was infested with brown recluse spiders. Could I get rid of them for her? And I said, well, I don't know. I've never tried, but we'll give it a try. So I went out there, and Black Diamond had been out there. All their traps were there, but the spiders were still not gone. So I did treat the house, and I never knew if it worked. But a year and a half later, she called me, which was a few months ago, and she said she wanted my number to give out to somebody else. She said, by the way, we never had a problem with those spiders again. So that would be maybe the strangest, is brown recluse spiders.
Because those are a nasty business.
Well,
that's nasty business. Are you ready to flip your first house? Join me and take Flip Savvy. It's a course that can teach you how to find, fund, and renovate your next flip. Go to flipsavvycourse.com for more information. It's interesting that you're solving problems from all types, whether it is mold remediation. Now, I know you provide other services as well. Can you speak to those?
Yeah, the odor removal, like the cigarette. And that is common when somebody says we can't show the house. We tried showing it a couple of times, and what you're doing at that point is you're just turning them with buyers that will never come back because they think that smell is always going to be there, and it's not. So that's another one. If you're looking for a good buy one that has smoke odors as well as mold, because people think that they can't get rid of the odor, but they can't. That would be at pressure washing. I do pressure washing as well.
Okay. Yes.
So pressure washing, mold and odor remediation, those would be generally the services I provide.
So get the houses, long-term smokers for a smoking good deal. And you're talking about the houses that actually have, you see the nicotine dripping down the wall, or you remove a picture and the wall is white or slightly cream colored and the rest of it is yellowed.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And you know it when you see it. If you're an investor, you've seen these type of houses before. It scares a lot of people away because they're not sure how to treat it, how to, what to deal with that smell. So that's great to know that you can, remove that smell, help out the investors or the homeowner who's ever got the property. Interesting.
So Tom, we want to thank you for joining us on the Investor Tribe podcast. You are part of the tribe. All right. And so what makes it so cool is that, we're able to have people like you on that can help us, that can help that investor and solve a lot of the problems. Exactly. And that's what we wake up every day trying to figure out how to solve problems. So we want to thank you for joining us. And we want to thank you for joining us today as well. You can find us on all the socials. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on X. You can find us on Facebook and YouTube. Go to all those at INB Tribe on everything. I'm Milton Ali.
And I'm Hampton Scurlock, and we're coming to Spotify pretty soon and probably some other platforms as well.
Yes, we are. So I'm super excited about that. And we'll catch you on the flip side of the Investor Tribe.
The Investor Tribe podcast is brought to you by the Investor Tribe, all rights reserved, featuring Hampton Scurlock and Milton Aldi, executive producer Drew Cookenmaster, produced and distributed by Bespoke Marketing.